Hello, everyone. I am currently muted in push-to-talk mode in the main NEB server, so no one can hear my little intro here, but that is alright. It is literally just me and Dramus. Hey, and there's Neko. Neko somehow dragging himself away.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Thank you, Neko.
Morning.
Welcome! I'm still not playing Missiles in Thervia. No. Stop. Cease.
I have
Anyway.
totally slept since we last streamed and did stuff, and am not running off an extra large coffee. Let's fucking do this.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
We gotta
I
cast.
don't know. It
We
ended
gotta-
up this way, and that's how it's going.
We gotta get on that grinder, that casting grind set. Oh my god!
No,
maybe I didn't
Grindr is
get
what
sleep.
you're on. Different websites.
Maybe I didn't get sleep last night. Oh my god! I can feel the caffeine coursing through my veins right now. I am ready to cast.
Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's get this OBS open and get this stream going.
Dang! I can't believe you're late and everything. I'm already live right now.
It's 8:52. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's 7 right now where I'm at. It's not even 7 right now. It's 6:52 where I'm at.
Yeah, welcome to PST, Pacific Escape Time.
That's, close enough.
It's mountain.
Yeah, it's mountain time. Because we have the weird. It used to be. Yes.
I love when Scape said it's mountain time, then mounted all. Wait, no, that doesn't sound right. Hold on, let's walk this bit back.
All right, yeah, Neko definitely didn't get any sleep. That confirms it. All right.
All right. Players should show up shortly, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Gonna laugh at both teams just said screw it bedtime instead.
Sorry, I can't do the tournament game. Too tired.
I mean,
Alright,
technically,
well-
one of the teams could, or both teams could play under strength, so maybe they could stall for their other teammates. Just bring
God.
a full monitor, like everyone brings monitors. They stall for enough time, so that game 2 is sufficiently late that their other players can get in.
I have a stream later today that I plan on taking a nap after this one's over before my stream later today. I really hope these idiots don't stall like that, because I really do want some sleep at some point today.
I'll see, we're both making good life choices. All right, invite sent. Let's do this.
Yippee. Alright, for once it's not an invite from Star. To start.
Right.
I have no idea how they consistently do that.
Me neither.
Alright, once again, remuting here for me just talking to stream. Yeah. Early in the morning here, we got about 5 minutes until the matches are scheduled to start. Both teams are beginning to filter in here. And in a moment here, Dramus will make the map call. We will see, or not the map call, the team call. Oh my god, I thought I got enough sleep last night. I literally, after the last night's matches, I literally casted those and then went to sleep. That's what I did. Anyway, welcome to all of my, my viewers who normally don't get to watch me live. Joining in at a now reasonable hour for a lot of you. Why are you watching me at 3 in the morning?
Oh, sorry about that.
It's sleep? Alrighty, yep, you can hear the teams now just starting to sort into the VC here. Before too long, we will start getting into the game.
All right, so yeah, I'll have to flip a coin because somehow the round 2 has ended up in a way that players who started as the same faction ended up playing against each other. So I believe both of your teams started as ANS last time. So if this rolls heads, then 120 SPM will start as ANS. Tails, they start as OSP. And I've rolled heads, so 120 SPM will start as ANS. And Hjonk will start as OSP. And if I could ask the players of 120 to go to Pancakes and Hjonk to go to Sparkles, please.
All right. Teams are set. Now that the sides have been chosen for which faction is doing who, I'm going to open up the gambling. Looks like 120 SPM will take ANS first. Meanwhile, Hjonk will take OSP to begin. On Blood Moon here. Keep that all in mind when you gamble. There's the gambling going live right now. Mildly, Primrose is Notes, Bongi, and it looks like we're still waiting on the last person for 120 SPM here. Team 2 is going to be Team Hjonk, Javel, Pigsy, Stevosaurus, and Nather to start things out. What did I say? Did I say something wrong? Oh, you're responding in chat. Okay, I thought that I was losing my mind for a second. Does anyone know whose name starts with Iron in Neb? There's Iron Mouse, I know that. I think that's their Discord name. Why did I say that? I know, I can't believe that. I'm gonna get canceled on Twitter, because I definitely have a presence on Twitter. Alrighty, both teams splitting here. HIMARS joins up on 120 SPM as their 4th member here. Iron Mouse, aren't they big V? Oh shit, I'm gonna get confused with Iron Mouse, aren't I? No, because there is also someone in the Discord named Iron Mouse, I believe. Oh my god. I think I might have not gotten sleep last night. Jesus Christ. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and ready up. Alright, Neko, y'all ready? Move into a private VC to cast this.
Yep, just about. Give me a second.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and head down to your server. I'll meet you there.
All right, will do.
Okay. Ah, it's so easy to turn on voice activity now that Liz made us undumb. Thank you, Liz, for solving
Say that
all
as
of our
I
problems
change
for
that
us.
up right now. Okay, 18 seconds. You know, screw it. I'm just gonna go live early.
Oh yeah, you're a bit
All right,
late there.
yeah, screw waiting for the countdown timer. Good meowing Viet Nhan. This is a early stream time. Scape and I totally have gotten sleep and are not going to be losing our
You see,
minds casting this one.
I actually have. The question is if it's enough sleep. The sun is just now rising here where I'm at. It is 7 in the morning. How the fuck am I awake right now? I'm here on a half-empty
I told
stomach.
myself, yeah, I'll get some sleep, right? I just finished casting, I'll go to bed, and then I lay there for a while and it just doesn't stick. So I'm like, I'll just go up and, I don't know, I'll edit a thumbnail or something. By the way, we're going to get more videos posted today, so look forward to that.
Yep.
And then it was 6 a.m., so...
I am here on a half-empty stomach. The caffeine is coursing through my veins. My body is ready for this casting thing here. Once again, the gambling is live for whose team you think is going to win here. Timer already started. Wow, we're already going in. Okay. Yay.
1 second here, Skip. I'm just going to forward you something here real quick for you to put up on your screen.
I can't because then that would ruin the cast. Thank you for being considerate.
Yes, but if we don't start recording until the game Oh, dang it, we are just starting up. All right, well, you'll just appreciate it when you look at it.
Yes, hospital. I'm sure I will be fine. All right, make your votes, make your final votes. I'm going to end submissions when we get loaded in here, and yeah.
That'll be that. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to, this is round 6, I believe, of the NEBVEMBER tournament. So this is a very early morning cast for myself and Escape GT. I'm Necaboy Blue. I totally forget how this intro goes. Who's playing today, Escape?
We were very sleep deprived, so forgive us if we do something that Neko just did, where we just completely, lose our minds. Anyway, Team 1 is 120 SPM. We have Bongi Hymars, Primrose, who is Notes and Mildly.
All right, Team 2 is going to be Team Hjonk, consisting of Stevesaurus, Javel, Pigsy, and Nethar. So we're squaring off on Blood Moon today is the map of choice. Blue team is going to be bringing in the ANS heavy tonnage. I'm seeing, what's that, 6 Axford coming out to play?
120 SPM appears to be taking a page out of Collapse the Electrons book here, as we have 6 Axfords over the top here on that CB arc on Blood Moon here. We will see if it works as well for them as it did for Collapse the Electron last night. Countering that appears to be an eerily similar team comp to what we saw from Maintenance as a Birch.
Similar style. I see some Acellas in there. Got a liner, monitor ball with some slight variance. All right.
We will
Looks
see.
like 120 SPM is going to be 120 RPM today, as I'm seeing Greedfords dropping in here.
All right, so that is that's Topaz then. So they're not full Axfords, it's Topaz. All right, do you want to take ANS then?
Yep, starting off with the Boing Boing is going to be, looks like a pair of these 120 coding Greedfords here. Looks pretty standard spyglass on one of them, and then almost a pair on the other. Yep, so about as regular as you can get. Double Raider Whiplash tech on that backpack,
Did I just call,
I believe.
Did I just call 120s 250s and think that this was Topaz? I'm actually, losing it already.
I didn't even catch that, so I couldn't tell you.
I just caught that in retrospect. Oh my god, okay.
All right, so this is a cast that's already starting. Hymars are coming in then with the Cap Fleet, which is going to consist of 2 CLs, 1 Interrupt Jammer, and one of them with a VLS-2. Got some active decoys and short killjoys. The rest of these is going to be gun cappers, 1, 2, 3 of those, and then looks like 1, 2, 3, and then 4 cringe cappers just distributed across the battle space here. Mildly comes in with their own Greedford pair. This is going to be, looks pretty normal here. Backpack VLS-2 for some Naganatas, and then the other one's got Interrupt Jammer. Very common pairing we're seeing probably across all of these capitals. Primrose is going to be deploying a bit on the outside.
Primrose is saying that they made a mistake. What did they do? Major misplay.
Question.
Interesting. Taking a look at their S2 backpack, I'm not seeing anything necessarily
looks
wrong.
Pretty standard here.
The only thing I'm noticing is they don't have any killjoys in that Axford, but other than that, I'm not really seeing anything wrong right now.
All right, that's ANS. 6 Greedfords and 250 Vauxhalls with a bunch of cheap cappers. It's pretty vanilla. What is facing off against them, Scape?
Anyway, starting at the top with Javel here, we have a fleet carrier, more line here. I'm seeing bombers with ablative foam, Hyco countermeasures, a lot of fighters here. No buffs on those, and some pikes for support. Halberds already out. Weaver and Aspirant are around the map. These are likely advanced radar package. Yep, just for some early scouting. Nather coming in next with the double SLO. Sarissa's Auroras looks pretty standard. Pigsy
does have a blanket jammer on the chin of one of those. It's a little bit of tech.
Ooh,
actually, both of them. Double blanket jam as opposed to the Bloodlights. That's
interesting. We'll see how that little design choice does for him here. Anyway, Pigsy with the sort of half monitor ball, half tug support here. We have 4 monitors and 2 tugs in a cluster here. The tugboats looks like they're carrying the jamming and some support equipment. Meanwhile, the monitors can be fully dedicated to point defense and damage output by the looks of it. Plasma and 100 mil is not split between these ships here, which gives a little bit of a vulnerability, but other than that, a relatively strong fleet. And rounding things out for Team Hjonk here, we have Stevosaurus on the caps. I'm seeing double 250 liner here. One low on Boxer, one of them mid heading A. And then it looks like just various gun shuttle cappers around the map. Oh, they're being played in
these
pairs
are paired
with
up,
jamming.
actually.
Interesting. So they're being played.
Kind of liking that.
Played in
Gonna
pairs
win them the
with
cap
some
war
jam
handily here.
support. We'll see how that does for
All right.
him. Taking a look at the map right now, 120 SPM just full forwarding their heavy frontline asset here. You can see they are already moved up quite far on that CB ridge there. Meanwhile, OSP also doing a bit of the same here as Team Hjonk also pushes
Oxford's
forward.
taken the engagement favored at first as they get a couple of those shots into the side of the Ocello. Does snipe the bulk mag up top, a little bit of excess ammo.
Able to be
Rocket Strike on
restored.
C
Yep.
is going to be the first pick off here as HIMARS loses a naked capper. Does not get the cap there.
Devil with some excellent cap deny there on C, as C is denied. However, both B and
A's
A
going
are
to get
gonna
capped,
go
but
to,
Lancer's on the way to
ANS.
C to that. 250 RPF we're seeing from HIMARS.
Yep,
That's
Lancer's
already
taking
cleaning
a
up some
lot
Lancer.
of damage right now. The 250 RPF from CLs, we've seen this in the tournament before. 250 RPF from CL's a very, very excellent anti-craft tool here, as, yep, you can see the damage is already adding up quite fast here. Lancer does get their Rocket Strike out, does manage to
One
kill.
strike and two
Yep.
strike. That'll be a takeout on that very cheap asset. Just gonna get knocked out here fast.
All right, so
Right.
ANS secures an early cap advantage here with 3 to OSP's 1. The front line is currently developing right now. You can see, actually, it looks like the Axfords are all coalescing together now instead of continuing to split up. Meanwhile,
Axford's
the
doing the smart play
Ocellos-
right now with that curvature they're getting here. This gives them a good area coverage between the C and B points. They're able to put some RPF into a couple of these light cappers. We see one of them from Stevosaurus kind of wandering too close to B point and going to get punished for it very quickly. Already reactor going
It
down on that.
does go dark for a second, although now it is lit back up. It looks like HIMARS gets Moped in position to begin some scouting for the Axfords. Kelp does get target locked and is diving for cover right now. This is one of the ones with the jammer on it. Jammer doesn't have the power to fire as that reactor does go down. Rather unfortunate. It looks like it is going to get into cover, though. The secondary batteries are just out of range on the
Secondary
Axfords.
guns are
not
distracted right now.
tasked.
Javel's little spy device at the top of the map, this integrated radar skiff, was attracting all that 120. Speaking of the 120, it may not have the same punch as the 250 RPF does, but when you have 6 Greedfords of firepower, it's very risky having some lighter assets around the area. We see this skiff just running for its life right now under all-seen fire. Hard burn
Despite
evade is turned on.
Target locked. This thing is dodging really well.
It goes to show just how maneuverable craft can be, even at the, 68, 69 meters a second speed. Just evade with hard burn makes you really hard to hit at this long distance.
Right. The Ocellos poking back out again, getting some pot shots into one of the Axfords here. They are firing at Boing Boings. This is Bongi's Axford here. HE loaded, not AP, on Axford. That is unlikely to really pin and do much damage here. The Ocellos are dark. They got, nope, there we go. Target lock, burn through, and Illuminators. Does manage to get through the jamming there. There's the AP swap.
Jamming
onto
not
the
going to do
Axford.
much in this case, but I think the jamming is primarily a tech choice. They're trying to protect these monitors going along with that Ocello grouping there. You see they already have their own integrated jammers with the tugs there, so just all of that layered on. It might be enough to break these locks. Going to
We'll
remain to be seen.
see. The monitors still haven't engaged yet. There's the engagement. Ooh, Bongi's already within plasma range. Interesting.
That's
That
going to be
range
some very
bracket-
long plasma shots.
Range bracket is a lot closer than I thought it was, as, yep, the Axfords are now dealing with the monitors and Ocellos here.
Just at that
ANS
7.5 kilometer mark. Plasma
ANS
going to miss for the most part with double radar drive.
ANS does hold the frontline numbers advantage here. We will see if they are able to use that to their advantage. Meanwhile, on the A flank here, Stevosaurus does lose one of their cappers to the CLs. It is technically alive and has gone dark, although at the cost of heavy damage. The other one is now moving towards A. The CLs have actually pulled back quite a lot here.
CLs are doing a smart thing here where they've kept the A point kind of under their control. They're screening this side of the map. They can do quick response to D point or C point if they need to rotate over while the front line does its thing. That said, Retribution's on the way as Javel has got 2 flights, Heartbreak and Hitman headed their way fast with a lot of Piranha rockets going to be on a HIMARS to quickly respond to those.
Likely going to try and coordinate this strike with the A-cap attempt here. You can see that Stevosaurus has multiple cappers in the area of A, ready to step on the point and ready to take the objective. But also,
additionally, Stevosaur moving over with their own 250 broadside liner there. Going to see if they can contribute to a follow-up on the strike.
HIMARS also does have a capper nearby to C right now. It is one of their cringe cappers ready to step on the point. Hornet, though, is potentially close enough to deny that if they do step on. Meanwhile, Fencer
Heartbreak
Squadron
might strike early. Yep, they're going to go for the cappers instead, just picking off what they can, deciding not to try and risk the Voxels. Instead, just deprive the ANS of their cap assets. They've seen 6 Axfords. They know there's only so many Corvettes on the board.
Hitman, though, does look like they're going to commit here. On the CLs. They are doing a pretty decent job of dodging the incoming RPF. We will see how long they are able to keep that up. No target lock
set on
them
evade
yet.
for now.
Yep, there's the high burn. RPF now starting to hit. Clears out one of them, down to 7. That is still a lot of rockets, though.
Here, what's the point defense situation on these, actually?
Probably pretty limited, considering that these are cap
on.
escorts. I'm not seeing much at all. If these rockets...
A rebound pair on the rub, but that's it.
The 250 RPF now pretty heavily damaging the squadron. Ooh, it's down to 4. Wow, 250 RPF coming in clutch here.
Not ideal.
The squadron forced to strike through open territory means that there is going to be a ton of losses before the rocket strike goes up. There is a single rebound in arc, and it looks like it is almost enough to deny
R2 will
strike.
catch the Raider drive and take out a gun there. Voxels don't have that much damage reduction. The Mark 64 is a damage threshold 30 device, so rockets can break it. Still, for what it's worth, that was not the greatest strike, all things considered. I believe it was 7 or 8 fighters went in, and they lost about half of their number.
Right.
Yeah, looks like they're going to lose probably more of them on the exit, as they are just heading back here in fairly straight order.
Javel's likely going to have to commit some heavier squadrons to try and take out those CLs. And the CLs now detecting the gun capper group that's heading towards A. 3 cappers step onto A at the same time here from OSP. You can see Krill from low, Cashew, and Peanut from high.
kind of making a mistake here. They have 2 Bellbird-equipped shuttles in range, but are not jamming out the Voxels right now.
They are
going
detected.
to take a lot of damage for that.
They are spotted despite the jamming. There comes the counter jamming there, as it does manage...
Needs the jamming up soon.
Yep. The CLs, unfortunately, do not target the one with the jamming, and Stevosaurus does go dark on the A point there. Meanwhile, the B cap continuing to develop here as ANS just pushes over the rock with the Axfords, already disabling the drives on... Ooh, the monitor's drives. Look at the monitor's drive setup. It's just a single sun drive on all of those.
That's a little bit risky here. Now, they can restore this, but at the same time, going for singular soft drive like that...
Yeah, it's caught out in front of 4 Axfords here. This thing is just going to get chewed up. One monitor already down on OSP here. Meanwhile...
Axfords are doing a good job here. A pair each is engaging on either side of this rock, trying to box in the OSP, keep them into that single area. A second pair here has kind of split off. The Primrose group is going after these 2 cappers. Stevosaurus is under the map with their 250 liner. They could probably push towards D, but they're also not having the greatest scouting info, so are hesitant. It's really going to come down to Javel with the carrier strikes, what they can field and what they can get through. While these Axfords are split off like this is their best chance to try and get a strike on a pair of them, since the PD will be heavily degraded due to their displacement.
You can already see Carnage Squadron is sorting towards that rock. It looks like it's ready to go over the rock and engage something. We will see if it's able to get purchase.
CMD saw torps on these, and I believe that the illumination plus the comms jamming will be enough to deny that strike. Question is going to entirely come down to what is the attack angle, can you self-illuminate, and is your illuminator, which is mounted on the nose of these, shot out by the Acellos or not? So, ACAP continues to develop. Stevosaurus has taken a lot of damage on these cappers. They had the means to cap this point using those Bellbirds on Battleshore to try and blind these Voxels. They had no more scouting, and they could have probably taken A without a loss, but instead we're going to see 2 of their cappers getting bled pretty badly. A third one going towards D point, just getting swept here as HIMARS pounces.
In all fairness, they did take the point, and the 250 liner is now in position to do some denial work on A. Meanwhile, the other 250 liner from Stevosaurus continues to move under the map. It is pointed in the direction of the Axis.
Naginata's going towards Carnage Flight. One of them going to get hit pretty bad there, but the ablative foam does let it tank that hit. See now, Carnage Flight doubled in count as more will get off the deck of the Moore line. More Naginatas inbound.
Those ones,
This
yeah, a
is-
blade of foam continues to work here. However, Javel once again just throwing these bombers and fighters.
That is
through
a
open
very
space.
optimistic torp dump from that range. Let's see if the comms jammer goes on.
Comms jammer not on. Mildly target
Mildly
lock.
at the
Comms
last
jammer on at
second
the
hits the
last
flick.
second. Those torpedoes
No.
are going to land as the comms jammer was not activated in time.
More
There
importantly,
is
the
some-
VLS-2 with 9 Naganatas is temporarily disabled, meaning the Carnage Flight might be able to get out of here.
However, OSP's frontline just continuing to engage the other experts here, not swapping fire to the other squadron.
Yeah.
These experts are all
OSP
in
getting
very
hit
advantageous.
pretty hard.
These experts
Tugs
are all
are
in very
falling.
advantageous spots right now for getting those crossfires.
Yep. Experts have split into 3 distinct areas right now. OSP really just needs to cut across, capitalize on the wounded ones that they saw just get struck, and then try and rack up whatever damage they can. They are far from cover and also had taken a sizable amount of damage that they could definitely try and punish, but
The monitors and
stands
the
there just stocked low.
Acellos doing a somewhat okay job at only taking 1 engagement at a time. That being said, Bongi is about to poke out broadside to these Acellos. As you can see, the fire's already coming in. Into the monitors, looks like those are going to be targeting one of Pigsy's monitors to begin with. That is a really devastating flank against OSP here, as OSP is pretty, like, stuck in this little
Carrier
area down
has
here.
been spotted as well. We see that briefly pop up here. It looks like Boing Boing with the tags are... I believe that their spyglass will have picked up the carrier. They may be rotating their guns over. Remains to be seen. Looks like they're just going to try and punish the monitor ball,
Unlikely
which is
that they are
tearing
gonna
apart
be,
Primrose right now.
Unlikely that they're going to be getting accurate fire on a spyglass track at that range. Looks like they're content with just helping their front line and dealing with the enemy front line here. These monitors are now getting crossfired from 3 different angles. Another torp strike here out on Mildly. Mildly this time does have the comms jammer up in time. The torpedoes are going to straight run.
Does
They
not
are
get the
going to
illuminate
hit,
though,
yep.
and that's going to hit home.
No self-illum as Mildly... Is that the same expert that got hit from Mildly? No, Amulet was the
No,
first
it's a
one that got
second
hit.
one.
So both
The
of Mildly's
comms jam one.
experts are slightly injured here, although that damage leaves a lot to be desired, as it's really not a whole lot. And considering that there are 4 other monitors to chew through here, 4 other, experts to chew through here, that damage is not really as much as I think OSP was hoping for.
Yeah. OSP gets strikes, but they're all spreading their damage across Axfords, which are not being punished. We see that Primrose down here, one of their Axfords is messed up pretty bad, has a mag deck going on. Its guns are offline as well as its chaff box, so it's taken the worst of the wear. But OSP's formation, these monitors, 2 of them are heavily damaged. One of them has been just flat out knocked out here, so they are suffering badly under this 450 fire.
The monitors, yep, beginning to wither quite badly here. The single sun drive tech choice is not really working for these things, as they are drives down at the worst possible times. Although B is being secured here as Stegosaurus steps onto the point. Jamming support from the front line is not enough to hide their cappers. The secondary batteries are going to immediately swap over. There's jamming from the cappers themselves. Will it be enough to avoid detection? No.
Does not look like it. Probably
Bongi's
offset
providing
lock from their allies.
Yeah, Bongi's providing offset track on those cappers there, and target lock on the other one.
I
Valiant
can't help
attempts
but
from
feel like there's been a
OSP.
misplay of opportunities here for OSP. Stegosaurus in their backline with the 250 liner. Had that thing contributed to this frontline fight and it pressed onto Primrose's fleet, that could have been a devastating strike to see off 2 Axfords
It
here and then
was
relieve the
only
front line.
250, but 250 AP into the broadside of Axfords is still quite a lot of damage. We can see,
Especially in conjunction with the
Rocket-
front line engaging.
Rocket Squadron is flanking over the top here, flying through open space. They are going to get attritioned by these Naganantas quite badly here, as they are
It's a
going
lot
to
of
just
Nagis
attempt
and
a
some RPF.
desperation strike. Javel not using any cover at all to advance these squadrons, which just leaves them
No.
open to RPF secondaries and SDM 200s the entire way. Boxer once again being
For what it's
attempted
worth,
here,
that
but
is the last of the
going to-
Nagis, so...
Yep.
Rocket Flight is now down to just 7. Not ideal. Still, that's 14 R2s, which could put some damage onto these already struck Axfords, provided they hit
There's
the
the
areas that was
strike.
already torped.
At
That's
range,
a bit of a range, but
the Axford's not the most maneuverable ship, even with this optimal drive setup. Those are going to actually pin, as they do hit an area that has reduced armor. Although the front line is really pushed far back and is unable to really get a follow-up strike on that. One of the Acellos already bled pretty
take a
heavily
look
here.
at
Another one
the
is still functional here.
These
ANS
Cellos right now are just
winning-
getting eviscerated from the Axford flank that came around at basically point-blank range. That's within, like, 3 kilometers, and they are just tearing into the broadside of these Cellos.
Yep,
One of them already...
secondary batteries are going to pen as neither gets flanked by the other Axfords from mildly here. Secondary batteries also in range, and that is also going to pen as OSP's front line begins to collapse here. Reactor bloom on the
that's
rest
gonna
of
be
the
a reactor.
monitors is going to be really rough for OSP here. As
That
those
is
Axfords now have
basically the
no
end of the
armor.
monitor ball, then.
Yep.
R2 strike from a bit of optimistic distance here. Javel going for these range strikes.
Yeah. Kind of forced to, considering the defenses that these Axfords have. No pens, or it does do a follow-up strike.
These will get through a little bit better now as we're going to see some impacts. One big
Still
problem with
no
the range
pens.
is that you get a bit of spread there, so you don't get consolidated fire.
Right. Panther,
These
now...
fighters came off backpack of one of
Yeah,
these.
backpack
Interesting.
from Bongi's Axfords, I believe.
All right, so neglecting to go with Naganatas, instead getting the pair of... These are going to be just 20 mil Tantos with Jam Pod.
I suppose
So,
the argument
not the
is
highest
that
investment,
their
but...
team has the Naganata count.
So Monitor Ball here just kind of getting torn apart. I think one of the big things is that a lot of people in this tournament are expecting the Monitor Ball, and it's in turn just getting ripped apart by these heavy frontline assets instead of trying to like play a bit more the checkbox style we've seen it done before, just a way to
Right.
stop the enemy's push with something very mobile like a Sprinter Ball, or trying to punish more close quarters aggression. Instead, we just see it try and take this front line and lose it.
OSP was pretty ambitious on the frontline engagement here, despite identifying the massive frontline counts that ANS had. Does still try and commit their ships onto the engagement here. I believe you're right about the missed opportunity for the 250 liner flank. If they had been able to flank properly, it would have been an entirely different story for OSP here. HIMARS now
Currently
getting
seeing the 250 liner
engaged, yeah.
does get a lock on HIMARS in the back line, so that's going to be some good 250 hits in a second here.
Although
You
the
see both of them
CLs
get into
are
gun range in a
not-
moment.
The CLs are not really the threat for OSP right now. It is those 6
No.
Axfords that are pushing really aggressively and have absolutely dismantled their front line. Cap advantage is currently in the hands of ANS, although it does appear that OSP is getting on points here. They're taking Boxer, and they are setting up a take on C, although those Axfords with the secondary batteries are still very close to the point. It's going to be pretty difficult for OSP to dislodge that. You can see here, Mildly is already sending the Amon-Ra to the C point there to just secure it.
Yep. Cashew from Stevosaurus does attempt to get onto C point, but is going to be met by still active 250 batteries in the broadside shot in a second. This is really on OSP not punishing the Greedfords once they had split up and dispersed a little bit. They could have easily isolated one of those groups and gone for a carrier super strike on it. Instead, they elected to kind of split their fire. They chose the furthest back group there, the Meow Axfords, which were the farthest from their carrier, and just never had a chance to consolidate their fire. The 250 liners, they do find HIMARS in the back, like you mentioned, but
HIMARS
even
is
so,
not-
they're not actually
I mean,
dying
it's
fast.
It's nice to take out the CLs, but that's not really the threat right now for OSP. Those Axfords have already developed into incredibly aggressive positions, and are now threatening the carrier. Curiously,
Reactor Bloom
Mildly is
does go through on the
not-
B point, but not near enough to these Axfords to scare them. Monitor's just
Javel,
getting cleaned up.
once
Rocket
again,
strike
R2
in the back line
strikes
against
Bongi's
Boing.
Axford. This is the one that got struck earlier, so we might see some pens here. Yep, some pens. The drives, though, coming in clutch, as a lot of that is able to be dodged. Bomb follow-up is
These
not gonna
bombs
get
likely to
through.
fratricide here in a second or
There is
so.
still a defender in Arc, which should clean up those bombs quite well.
Yep, that's going to be a swing and a miss. I feel like this is Javel slightly misplaying on the rocket strike as well. They seem to be popping a lot earlier than I would recommend. You really want to get as close as you can before Defender kicks on.
It's a side effect of this map. The Axfords are playing really well, staying in the open and preventing those really sneaky run-ups from Craft. Javel forced to throw a lot of their fighters through very open space to try and get them onto target, leaves them at high risk of getting shot at as they are on their way.
I think another thing to look at is just the fact that Javel's forces have been largely attrition. We haven't seen the buildup of the kind of critical mass anti-heavy asset strike, which is the 8 bombers with torpedoes. At most, we saw 4 of them come in, but Javel's just not been able to get all the forces consolidated they want to properly overpower one of these groups.
HIMARS is on the withdrawal line in one of their CLs. Stegosaurus has pushed them back very far. The other one crippled by the other 250 liner. Although, yeah, once again, this is not what those 250 liners should really have been focused on.
OSP just not taking the engages that they want today. They have they've done some of the things right. Like, to their credit, HIMARS' fleet is in relative shambles. The CLs are not threatening anything right now, but their frontline exchange, though, Primrose is beaten, but still effective. Bongi, like you mentioned, is pretty much unscratched. Mildly took a hit or two up top of the map, but if we look at them now, they've repaired basically everything that was struck there. At most, they're missing a gun plot and a pair of guns, and they've still got plenty more Mark 62.
You would not believe that these Axfords, both of them from Mildly, were struck by torpedoes earlier. One of them struck multiple times by R2 follow-up as well. They are still in a relatively healthy condition. Backfire here is all bombs, no torpedoes.
They're just trying with what they have.
Read and commit onto one of Mildly's Axfords here. I'm assuming this is a desperate play to try and prevent that Axford from stepping near A. OSP doing their best to just maintain the points that they have.
Does lack a defender, so this may work if they don't stop, like, right now.
The Axford still has its drives up, so it theoretically should be able to dodge here, but it's not going to dodge here.
No, it's going to get caught by a couple of those.
Are going to find it. Not a lot of damage, though. It looks like a lot of them being absorbed by the nose of the Axford here, and some of them probably clonking, too. That did no damage. I'm confused.
Yeah, it's the... Okay. Odd blast angle, perhaps, or maybe armor pen issue?
Something.
Strange.
Very bizarre. The Acellos are not completely dealt with. Pixie is out of ships completely, as the Axfords just have free reign now to just move along the map. HIMARS
only remaining assets is Stevosaurus, who's got half a 250 liner right now, which is under sustained fire. HIMARS still alive and buying time.
Yep, these 250 liners have been out of the fight for way too long here, as they are just busy trying to clear up these CLs, completely missing the entire frontline engagement. Bongi now is going to commit onto E, Mildly sending an Axford for A, Axford sitting pretty on B and C, and it looks like no current attempts for Dagger yet, although I have
Javel trying again here. Strife Light built up. We see 14 of these fighters going to be coming in here. They've got Piranha rockets. They're committed on target. We see the gun.
They dropped the bombs first before the rockets.
Did not disable the bombs. That's their error. No.
The rockets are still
strike
going
issue
through. Yep. The rockets are going to hit.
R2 strike at the right distance, though. They do get the impacts to break that armor, but...
Although the bombs are going to miss, as this Axford is once again able to dodge without any problem at all. The maneuverability you get from double raid or whiplash drive coming in clutch here, as the bombs don't even get close to hitting.
Yep. R2 strike is deadly on OSP when executed with the correct follow-up, and that was just not it right there.
One of Stevosaurus' Axfords caught out in the open here under 450 HE fire now, as Eclipse is going to get capped by the Axford here without pretty much anything being able to stop it. Boxer firmly in the hands of ANS, C firmly in the hands of ANS.
Stevosaurus elects to throw it in there. OSP knows the writings on the wall.
From OSP there, as they're just unable to deal with the massive frontline push. Once again, the 6 Axford strat on Blood Moon, coming in clutch for ANS, as the front line just rolls the opposing front line, and there is nothing to stop them afterwards.
Yeah. OSP had the tools in their arsenal to try and deal with this. I feel like Javel strikes, which was really their main kind of swing factor, just never could find these Axford pairs alone and punish them. Or if they did find them alone, they just never got the strike that they wanted.
They left
the damage here just
on the
really
strikes.
good.
Yeah. The Axford's still pretty much mostly intact. All of them still functional, still combat effective to the very end.
One of the Axfords in the Meow pair pulls almost 27k. 11k of that is HE RPF. That is a lot of damage for 120 secondaries.
And you can see how powerful these Greedfords are in the Cap War, as Notes is just able to deny a bunch of light assets from their ability to affect the game. Meanwhile, OSP's frontline just gets gutted really quickly. They
execution was not there. The tools they had were interesting. The sun drive monitors are sort of tech, but at the same time, this setup is very vulnerable, and ANS jumped on them, punished them wherever they could.
Right.
None of the OSP team, I want to say, was engaging the correct targets at the right time. Had they consolidated fire onto those split apart Axford pairs, 250 liner flank, or the OSP's carrier coming in with its effective torpedo dump, say you get 8 bombers on target, or a grouping of, say, 8 bombers, 10 fighters, that's enough to seriously punish an Axford pair. We just never saw that.
Right.
All right. going on to game 2 then.
Probably a little bit of a misplay there. OSP probably should not have taken that frontline engagement. They had all the intel they needed to identify that that was 6 Axfords. They probably should have played it a lot more safer than they did, recognizing that their frontline was much more valuable now that they had a disadvantage on hulls. 120 SPM is going to take that one. It is currently 1-0 in their favor as it's up to Team Hjonk to choose the next map. We are going to award points to the winner there. ANS won that one, as 63% of people in my chat expected. Congratulations on your points. I am going to go ahead and start the 3-minute ad break here on my end as we get the next match started up and map selected and everything.
VOD exclusive content here, folks, as we go to ad break. All right, so starting us off there, ANS commits to, once again, a effective all-in that we see pay off in this tournament. I don't think this is a case of the all-in being too powerful. I definitely think this was a case of Team Hjonk there just not quite countering it. They had the tools and the ability to play against it, but just they never really did it.
That's multiple times now where the limited frontline, the one that has the numbers disadvantage, for some reason decides to take that aggressive engagement with the frontline. In that situation, if you can identify that you're down on frontline, you need to repivot. You can't take those engagements because you will lose. You don't have the hulls to win that. You need to preserve your frontline, and you need to play to the other advantages that you have. In that case, on that match, it was definitely the Protectorate's ability to win the cap war there. Double 250 liner in ANS's backline, as well as the initial damage that the carrier strikes did to the number of cappers that were brought by HIMARS. That was definitely OSP's advantage in the last one, but they just never really capitalized on that, instead trying to take that unwinnable frontline engagement.
The only team so far in the tournament, I'd say, that has really capitalized on their backline advantage has been Sanjover, where they came at a round 1 of a Gold Rush game with double Moorline, capitalized on the fact they had 6k worth of planes, and just absolutely punished the ANS team they were up against. They relentlessly rocket struck everything they could. They used their monitor ball to correctly provide space and delay the enemy from pushing onto them, and we just haven't seen that kind of gameplay since, as people engage in a frontline fight and don't seem to want to limit their engagement, instead trying to win through fisticuffs and either not coordinating correctly or just not executing correctly.
Right. Also, I can't tell there. Javel almost always had their craft flanking through open space, not using rock cover. I'm not sure. I think it was probably a combination of them just not using rock cover at all, but also a combination of the Axfords really good positioning there, away from cover, allowing them to be in open space, prevents the craft from sneaking up at them at close range using cover, allows their secondary batteries and SDM-200s to have the optimal engagement profile, as, they're just able to shrug off a lot of the strikes before they
That's part of the thing, too, to talk about for usage of cover there. Part of the appeal of the carrier is the ability to use its cover in a very dynamic way on approach and force the targets to then have to neglect taking cover, instead trying to play that open space game, give themselves about 2 kilometers for PD and such.
Javel,
if a carrier is forcing the enemy out of cover, why are you not punishing that with guns?
They were trying to, but once again, that loops back to the front line, failing to prioritize the best targets. Alrighty, next one is starting up. I am going to start running the predictions here as 120 SPM swaps to OSP and Team Hjonk goes to ANS. We are here on Gold Rush for our next one here. Make your votes now. We will see who wins this. 120 SPM is up 1. If they win this one is over for them. It is on Hjonk to stay in the fight here by winning this one. We will see what they bring to do that. ANS is already all
ANS has been very beam heavy on Gold Rush, and sometimes it's paid off for them, other times it's not. It does come down to the execution. You can't just bring 10 beamstones and call it a day, as we've seen, but
there's execution, but then there's also the fact that you have to consider that Protectorate does have known counters to this. We saw in one of the earlier games with Sanjover that the double R2 strike carrier is really good at dislodging those beam heavy plays. Same thing with 120 SPM versus Freak Bob's Fed House. Freak Bob was able to have very, very aggressive plays into those beamstones guarding points. All right. Loading up here.
Let's see it happen then.
Make your votes before I end the poll to prevent some OPSEC influencing the outcome. All right?
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the NEBVEMBER tournament. We've got Team Hjonk squaring off against 120 SPM. I'm Nekoboy Blue, and I'm joined by Scape GT.
Hello.
It is stupid early on a fine Saturday morning. We are into the second round of, I believe this is game 6 in the tournament here. We saw 120 SPM take it in the first game on Blood Moon with a brutal 6 Axford Heavy 120 secondary battery Greedford setup.
Right. Swapping over here to Gold Rush as Hjonk chooses this map to be their ANS play here. And I am already seeing a very distinct strategy from Team Hjonk here. We will see how that works for them. Anyway, introducing the team. Speaking of Team Hjonk, we have Javel, Stevosaurus, Pigsy, and Nather there. We'll be playing on ANS today.
120 SPM is made up of HIMARS, Mildly, Primrose, and Boing Boing, which, as I recall, is Bongy.
Bongy is, yeah, Boing Boing, and Primrose is Notes here. 120 SPM is playing around with their names a bit. Anyway...
No one in Neb can ever seem to keep the same name, so we always forget who's who. Anyways,
you can
and aside, Vauxhall Rush looks like it's coming in as their tech of choice. A couple Corvette pairs around the map as well. Might be some interesting missile tech on that.
I am probably seeing 3 CL groups and a Cat fleet on ANS. We'll see if that is enough. Looking at Protectorate here, it's going to be liner maxing. I'm seeing triple liner on
both teams going for their high mobility but sort of more fragile hulls. Liners can put themselves back together very well using the damage control complex and large storage. That said, if they get jumped on by these Vauxhalls in a very aggressive push, we can see them collapse incredibly quickly to that 250 HE.
Doesn't look like any Acellos on OSP is going to be a little bit more rough for them to pin down these Acellos here. Vauxhalls here. Oh my fucking god. Acellos would be a really excellent pick here due to the long range radars, blocking capabilities, and anti-jam equipment. The CLs here are going to have relatively free reign as long as they can take those liner engagements in optimal ways. We will see.
Liner's going to be the interesting factor here, depending what type they are, whether they're 450 with a T20 secondary or going for a closer quarters 250 and plasma combo.
I'm assuming it's
plasma 100 mil.
Likely going to be mostly 450 liners here. We know how powerful those are in numbers. We will see if they are able to pin down these Acellos. That's going to be the question.
I read a ANS last time. You want to tell me what I'm looking at? Because I see Auroras on the side of one of these CLs.
Oh, interesting. All right, starting off with Javel here is the one with the Auroras. I'm seeing Aurora's jamming and probably some Acello killers there. Not quite the 3 different types we typically see, but still probably quite powerful. Parallax and Parallax on both of these, and a jam escort rounds out Javel's fleet here. Nather also running a double CL here. 2 of them with chaff on the back. OSP is already calls it. Probably sees the drive flares coming in as they are able to correctly guess what ANS has brought this time. Nather a bit different, lacking the Acello killers, but has double jam escort. And Pigsy here with the triple CL. There's the comms jammer. Chaff launcher and chaff launcher. Yep, all right, so that is a lot of damage output on 250s there. Stevosaurus rounding out ANS's fleet here with the Cap fleet, it looks like. Looks like double S2.
Was correct on the missiles. A lot of SDM2s brought here. Nether in their escort corvettes, there was 21 Naganatas apiece on those, so if there was a carrier, this would be bad news. Stevosaurus, let's get the quick counts. We look through these. All of them having some SDM2s. Wait, hang on. How many is...
They're not SDM200s. There's also some regular S2s in there for offensive capabilities. It looks like it's going to be an S2 Cap fleet here. We will see if that is able to...
This is an astronomical number of SDM2s. There is 80 in Stevosaurus's fleet.
Interesting.
Combine that with the 42 from the... They were expecting a carrier-heavy build, and they did not find it. Instead, it's oops, all liners.
Both teams with really all-in strats. I'm already taking a look at what OSP has brought if you want to run us through what they have.
Starting with the Boings over here, we're going to see 450 liners rotating into position. This is a pair of them. Looks like same build here. They've got container backpacks, probably got some... Let's see, yep, line ship decoy, Helljoys on those. They've got a skiff getting off the deck there, providing some radar support. Bloodhound Tug already going to be pointed right at the CL rush. They know what is coming. They've got an early warning Tug as well split off here, just trying to detect this force. HIMARS on the other side of the map towards Seaside has a 450 liner with 100 mil backpack casemate guns. That is a very unusual thing to see.
This is something that
I don't know what to make of that.
It's something that Bell also runs a lot. You start in with the 100 mils pointing towards the cap for a really, really quick cap denial, and then you flip around for the frontline engagement. A really nice way to get a couple extra 100 mil barrels on target. Makes it a lot easier to deny points, like the center A point on some 5v5 maps.
HIMARS also doing same tech, going towards A-cap. Interesting denial here attempting from those. We're going to see, rounding out their fleet, they've got a Bloodhound Tug, has a 20 on it, just a little bit of pew-pew. And they've got two naked cappers, one of them on the D point, other words towards E. Mildly comes in with their own 450 liner. This one has some Naginata launchers on the back. If I had to guess, yep, Talisman launchers, a couple Killjoys in there. Mildly has two dispersed liners, one towards east side, which is now opening up with its 450 on there. And then lastly, they've got their Bloodhound T20 Tug, just a little good tech checkbox.
These CLs.
Primrose makes up the last of the fleet. Minor size 2 strike attempted here, going towards HIMARS. Rock PD about to eat all of that in a second or so.
Yep.
And missilebudget.exe. Right, Primrose, 450 here, has Talisman launchers of their own. Both teams expecting some planes and not seeing any of them, save for a skiff or two. We're going to see some more missiles coming out here. Attempt on the E point. Those are going to actually miss due to command error on this. Does not have lock, it looks like. One hit.
Knocks out the drive, yep, but no target lock on that means that they're going to be really, really inaccurate. Look at all the jamming put up by the CLs here, attempting to hide under all of this, both offensive comms jamming as well as regular offensive jamming here. Thunderbird from Tigsy already starting to eat a lot of fire here, as those bloodhounds that OSP has are gonna just keep these things permanently spotted. Comms jamming.
Here's the interesting thing about this, though. These SDM2s will deny one of the skiffs there, another one looking to get picked off. While OSP did come in with a lot of liners and they have the offset locks from these Bloodhounds, there's a lot of hang-up jamming going on and no Acello on the board, which means that these liners very well might end up losing lock on them.
We will
one of them does get a lock on the
CLs,
lead.
though, yeah, the CLs lock on one of the CLs, pushing into a 250 crossfire here with 100 mil batteries already engaging. It looks like the decisive engagement of this game has already begun, and it's 5 minutes in here. We will see.
This is the right call for ANS, as they've got their Hell Push kitted, and they need to go with this before OSP rotates their other liners over. 4 liners on the left flank overwatching C point. Primrose is rotated now, getting some shots in the broadside, but they're just putting pedal to the metal, trying to make this rush work. So far, not that much damage.
CLs, yeah, the liners not really taking a whole lot of fire yet. The liners are doing an excellent job of ducking back into cover here when they do get engaged, allowing the other liners that are not being shot out to take free engagements on these CLs. Bloodhounds are keeping these things relatively spotted, as one CL is already completely gutted right now. Neither is going to lose Kavashi's hope here, as it is out of restores, out of guns, and it is just going to get, yeah, that's one CL
Of the ones
down.
they could lose, not the worst. They need to get towards these liners covering D point, as they have run out of cover. Once they come around this corner, let loose with those missiles, kill off these things, and then go low, driving towards this kind of D point trench so you stay in cover against the incoming high push from Primrose and Mildly.
A comms jamming is being fired at not the Bloodhound Tugs, but the liners here, which means that although if the comms jamming works, Bongi won't be able to see these ships, although every single other liner still will be, though. Not comms jamming the detection at its source, that being the Bloodhounds here, leaves these CLs really open to getting crossfired.
Actually, with the way comms jamming works, you have to jam the receiver, not the transmitter in that case, so they are correct with this.
Well,
that
no,
said,
what I'm saying is without the comms jamming being fired at the Bloodhound Tugs, the Bloodhound Tugs are still able to broadcast to other liners not in the arc of the comms jamming, which means that...
yes, I see what you mean by that.
Which means that although some liners might not be able to see the target, the other ones still can because they're not in the cone.
This might do something about it. EO Heckpies have been loose. They do not like that these tugs are out here. They got a track on them and let fly with those. That's a great way to silence these tugs.
These are Acello killers being tasked on.
Well, it'll knock out a monitor for sure, and a tug is slighter than that.
Yep. Two more at one of the other early warnings here. It should be noted that one of them is still active, although missile out on it. ANS has correctly identified what is the Bloodhound
EO
tugs.
moment as it does go after one of the dead ships there. Still, the early warning is active, so they'll at least get radar track.
Early
Bloodhound
warning.
tugs are getting trimmed out. That's a good pick-off. Liners, though, are just playing the range game, trying to keep these CLs from pushing after them, or if they do push after them, they punish. Yeah, these EO missiles are going to cripple these ships for the moment.
That one doesn't quite kill that one, though. Takes out both tricorrelators. It does still have a restore to bring that CIC back online. It is knocked out temporarily, though. The CL's just, trying to continue the push here. Javel is going to be the next one to fall here as one of their CLs starts taking some withering damage. The center stack already completely gutted, and you can see here why everyone who knows how to play CLs tells you that the center stack is the most vulnerable part of the ship. The front and the back relatively intact, where the center stack is just completely gone.
This push, despite the early aggression they had, I still feel like they're going a little bit slow with it, as looks like Pigsy's just kind of holding back now for the moment. They really just need to overwhelm these liners as fast as possible, because they are bleeding their assets right now. They have a localized advantage they are not capitalizing on. They really have to just full send this right now.
Here, these are Acello killers out on, looks like Mildly's liner. Rag Risky in the back.
Mildly will get found here. Acello killers are good techs, but we will see how effective they are against this broadside liner.
Against a liner is not going to do much, although they fire. They're flying through Pavis arc here as Primrose.
Pavis just out of range.
Ooh, Notes almost was able to support. Comms jamming is up, although these are saw back up. They are going to run straight directly into this liner. One of them missing completely. They do manage to snipe out the Sun Drive, although 250 could have also done that, no problem.
Yeah. Here's the capitalize we're starting to look for, as Bongi is going to get found by some of this 250.
On Bongi there, as they're going to likely lose one of their liners here, although these CLs are taking a lot more damage than the liners are, if we're being honest.
Mildly up top takes a little bit of 250 in the side here. OSP is spread out, and ANS knows it. They got some early awareness of those liners. Heimar secures C point in the back line. Ooh, missile strike on the A side here. Some of these going to find purchase. That's going to do a little.
ANS is doing pretty good on the cap war now. These S2 cappers are doing pretty good for themselves, as they're able to clean up a lot of Heimar's cap fleet here, securing some advantages. You can see here missiles now out on Bongi, though. Comms jamming is active, which means this liner will be a lot harder to hit, although the Hodge straight running does lead them directly in.
I feel like this is maybe a little too all in from Stevosaurus with this. Going for like 4 capper pairs like this, well, it can lead to some interesting moments. The lack of something like a beam destroyer to punish a overextension of a liner like this is really visible right now.
Missiles are doing work here, as they have multiple missile platforms from various different angles here. You can see HE frag. Oh, that's a Helljoy out on these missiles here. The missiles are going to be close enough to the target that the CMD will track rather than the Hodge will, as more missiles strike.
Missiles are kind of important here for these liners. Liners are very resilient until they hit that structure breakpoint. As we saw, one of Bongi's liners got structure broken, and it is just staying in cover now because it knows the second those 250s open up, it will lose a lot of components.
OSP is playing
mildly
really
in the
good
back as well,
against
holding range.
These this CL rush here. The CLs are now getting fired on from multiple angles here, although they did do a good job of disabling the early warning and the sensor assets here. These CLs are now being engaged from multiple angles, from multiple healthy liners. They are really pinned down here. They are focusing their fire on multiple different targets instead of all focusing on one, which leaves them open to just get attritioned here in OSP's backline.
I feel like there was a opportunity that's really running out now, as OSP got the read and correctly rotated their ships over. ANS chased them, but just couldn't punish them in time. They needed to send those missiles out at some point sooner, but they may not have seen the scouting information required to spot those tugs. Limited radar range due to parallax, probably keeping them silent.
Ooh, the liner on A is starting to take some really heavy damage as the structure
Heimar's
goes
here,
through. The
structure
comms jammer
broken.
does go down, as these cappers are going to make their worth, definitely, as that liner is pretty crippled on the point here. Although with the rest
Can put itself together, but just needs
ANS
something to collect on it.
The rest of ANS is really pinned here. You can see Mildly and Notes still have 4 healthy liners between them. Bongi and HIMARS do have a couple liners that are really injured, although they still each have one that is still pretty much fully functional here. The Seals, on the other hand, Javel is really gutted right now. Nather as well has taken some pretty heavy damage, and Pigsy is almost out of the fight with the damage that the Seals have taken. The little rush.
This trade not going in the favor of
Nope.
ANS for the moment.
The rush wasn't fast enough. Unfortunately for ANS, OSP just had the positioning and the sensor equipment to really just kind of deal with this from the beginning, as OSP uses the advantages they have to not let this push gain any ground. They do manage to secure E, but they do lose C and A in the process here. The Seals now, yeah, they're pinned in one spot at close range with these 450 liners. They're just going to get target locked by the pinpoints. Pinpoints are very difficult to break the luck of. There are still Bloodhound assets in the back line of OSP right now. They brought a lot of reserves, which means that they are going to have no problem being able to maintain track on these CLs.
I think part of this really came down to OSP, like we saw in the text chat at the start of the match, just calling that CL all in and then immediately saying, okay, we know what they're doing, let's start rotating. So ANS was already on the clock more so than an all-in rush like this usually is.
A liner, yeah, they, the dry flares were just probably seen at the beginning from one of the teams, from one of the players on OSP, as they just call what they brought. Boggy is likely going to lose a liner here, as it is going to get focused by the remaining CLs, although...
Remaining CLs, though, is not that many.
One liner kill for losing, like, all but one of the CLs is not a trade you want to make, as, yep, all of these CLs are pretty heavily damaged at this point.
This makes me wonder, for this all-in, was it a case of them immediately being scouted and then the rotation factor? Did ANS not commit aggressively enough? We saw them kind of slow down at certain points, and they just really need to full send it when you know that the jig is up like that. Size 2s will find an impact here or there, but just not really getting the effectiveness they want.
Stevosaurus with the missile support, trying desperately to try and help their team here. Comms jamming is up, which means that these missiles are going to lose track. The Hodge is going to straight run into the liner here.
Killjoy and swing there.
Nope, Killjoy is going to swing them off. I think
that this is also a case of a lot of budget invested into anti-craft. They had all these CLs, they had all these Naganatas. It was 42 on Nether's fleet, and then Stevosaurus brought 80 of them. Average Naganata is, what, 5 points a pop, so that is a not insignificant budget into deplaying a team that just brought basically no planes save, what, 2 skiffs?
Right. I mean, the anti-skiff works because that's offset tracks that can get past the
Agreed,
jamming,
it is something good to clean up, but...
I feel like when ANS initially began jamming, right, trying to jam out the liners and they didn't go dark, they should have anticipated that the Protectorate had a lot of these backline sensor assets and probably played a bit more safely, probably pivoted closer over to A and tried to take these liners at different engagement ranges, more optimal engagement ranges, I should say. I feel like that was
also
the play.
Just consolidating their force better and coordinating fire.
Right, it's a very difficult play for ANS after the jamming didn't work there. But that much mass jamming, if you're throwing out that much jamming into where the enemy is and you're not going dark, it means that the enemy likely has a bunch of these backline sensor assets that you are not going to be able to deal with. They did do a good job of gutting some of them, but OSP just brought reserves and could just attrition.
One thing to talk about as well for that is the effectiveness of the hang-up. It's generally assumed that OSP always has an offset track from somewhere or other. Early warning tug, very common to see. Bloodhound tug as well, excellent tech. Usually with these liners plus stuff fleets, you'll see a tug or a pair of shuttles brought along just for more caps. Gives them a lot of versatility. In this case, we just see how that ends up adding up.
Being brutally honest here, the hang-up is kind of not a good thing to bring. It can help. The situations where it helps you in are so niche. Like you were saying before, OSP has so many tools for getting offset tracks. Their hull count, one thing that people don't consider for offset tracks is the cap fleet. Bridgemaster's offset tracks from the various shuttles that OSP can bring provide excellent track quality and really excellent offset tracks. Of course, there's the tugboats in orbit with the early warning and bloodhounds. There's
I think some ramming going on the 8-point or something as HIMARS is attempting to shoot this Corvette that is point blank just evading them shots.
This liner does not have the power to run any of its guns. No, it does. Yep, no, it gets
Might
power
actually be
again.
taking friendly fire from Primrose's liner up above it. There's G20s are going to blink away at the armor. All right. For what it's
Yeah.
worth, ANS pretty much out at this point. All of the CLs took a lot of attrition on the approach there. They had an opportunity, but it tightened up really fast. The instant read and then response is 450 liners just start giving ground, using their mobility just to hold down the
Right.
trigger as long as they can while staying out of that 8-kilometer death range.
The hang-up play
Little
was
bit of
a
advantage as
risky
well.
attempt here, and it really doesn't pay off. Too many offset tracks for ANS to deal with here. Yeah,
Hang up
it's
can
a very...
also be useful for like some edge cases like we see orbital liner play. Those are typically far away from other friendly antennas, so you can isolate those. We saw this when
Right.
mass driver liner was a lot more popular. Hang up with very good tech against that.
I think a lot of the mistakes here, it's a really hard read to do, I will admit, but as like I was saying before, as soon as ANS realized that their jamming was not allowing them to go dark, they should have immediately abandoned the rush and should have repositioned to a more safer area. Tried to split up the liners with probing attacks with the CLs instead of doing this all-in rush. Would have preserved them further into the late game. The hang-ups
Other
definitely
chance
didn't
there
work here.
would have been to commit the rush, but drop their altitude a little bit. They went in fairly
Trying to
high,
low.
all things considered,
Yeah,
allowing those
they-
like high-position
They
liners
also,
to shoot them from across the map.
They had track of OSP's liner positions fairly early on there. They probably could have taken a more advantageous engagement angle there. Instead, they rushed directly into the center of the liner ball, which doesn't end well, as the liners
No.
just get shots from all different angles, completely negating any jamming that the CLs have, which is one of their primary survivability tools. As they just get gutted by the liner crossfire. You can see here all liners on OSP, although some of them are in various stages of damage, they are all still active. Bongi doesn't even lose that liner that we thought they would. It is non-combat capable due to no mag, however, it is still a functional ship. HIMARS on A, without any CLs to get some supporting fire into it after the missiles hit, it is still fully functional, as the remaining CLs on ANS are just going to get hunted down and gutted here. Perhaps, they
HIMARS
definitely-
moving towards B point now to secure another cap.
Yep.
ANS really just alive off Stevosaurus right now. They're trying to get their cappers on point, but this was a very all-in play from ANS that was immediately read and punished, and I'm just going to say it, I don't think it was executed all that well with
No.
the benefit of hindsight with how this went through.
I think you're totally right about the engagement altitude. The CLs 100% knew where all the liners were. If they chose a lower altitude, they could have probably been able to take some more advantageous engagements there. Not pushed into all of them, taken engagements where they only had to focus a few. Target priorities, once again, we saw that Team Hjonk here just doesn't really have the target priority either. The CLs at multiple points in the game firing at different tracks. They really needed to focus one down and try and get one disabled before moving on to the next. And unfortunately, they were just unable to do that. The liners as well, have to give Team 100 SPM credit here for being able to counter this. The liners repositioned really well there to deal with this push, getting angles on the CLs from all different sides, completely negating their jamming, and they're just able to attrition down these CLs, engaging from all sides and just tearing them apart at close range.
I think that you pretty much hit all the points there. Something that you can do very easily is if you type in chat, you just say, I don't know, track 1700 liner kill it or something. That will put a track into chat there. You can click on. Very easy way to consolidate your fire. Something Scape never does, and I'm going to call them out on it. But
I'll work on it.
brilliant for
I'll
when you
work
want
on
to
it.
consolidate fire onto a liner. Just say this one dies now. Fire all your 250, all of your missiles. The missiles as well. Backpack missiles were brought here to counter Acellos that they just didn't see.
Right.
Those are very effective with high explosive warheads against liners, as you can hit that structure break threshold really quick and potentially take out the speedy drives like a Sun Drive or even disable a long haul for a second.
It's a little bit rough to really try and adjust those missiles, considering that if ANS did face Acellos, that would have been a really excellent tool for just dislodging them to allow the push to continue really aggressively. I think the play there was to definitely take one of the double CL groups. I feel like probably should have slotted HE, and the other one, HEKP, could have worked there, allowing you to have tools for both with the triple CL to provide gunfire support. But yeah, that
In
one was...
a weird way, thinking about this, we talked in the pregame about how Sanjover, they had brought along a single monitor ball with 2 backline more lines as a build before. This force we're seeing from Team Hjonk here, that would have absolutely punished a build like that. Nagana to spam to remove planes, and then Seals to rush down vulnerable carriers.
Right.
Missiles on the backpack slot to remove Monitor or Ocello.
If
What
this
they faced was not that, though.
Yeah. The all-in-liner strat from 120 SPM really wins the game there, especially with the amount of backline offset track capability that they had, just able to constantly spot the CLs. As I think that's a new record. Is 120 SPM takes 2 wins in under an hour, as it is only 8 o'clock here. It's only an hour since this thing has started. Yeah.
People talking about liners being natural counter. Yes and no. Entirely depends on the engagement and style played of them. The 450 liner is quite good because 450 is good against foxholes when they get caught by it. But as we've seen various other players in previous tournament matches, Star, for example, a experienced CL player, dodging like nothing against a bunch of 450 from Ocellos. In this case, they just chose to put pedal to the metal into the gun line, and it went about how you expect for it.
Right. CLs very much live and die by how the player playing them chooses to take engagements. You saw there, rushing CLs into liners like that is a good way to get them killed, but if, like we were saying before, if they took a lower engagement, if they played more passively when they realized their jamming wasn't hiding them, the CLs could have probably prevailed there. ANS had what they needed to deal with what OSP brought. They just never repositioned once they ID'd what OSP had. Meanwhile, it was the complete opposite story on 120 SPM, as they immediately identified what ANS had and immediately adjusted strategy to deal with it. That was probably the difference maker there.
Yeah. The read at the start of the game definitely saying something, as making the call of this is a all-in strat. We know what we're dealing with. Let's adjust for it. That gives you a lot more flexibility than the surprise factor that CL rushes have had in the past.
All right, I'm going to hop back up to General, and we can discuss the post-match with everyone.
Let's hear that post-game. Side here, how are we all doing?
Pretty good. I didn't think those would be a SIMD Hodge. I thought this would be like SIMD WoW.
So, very quick 2-game series there. Teams, after your 2 matches, how are you feeling?
Tired. I want to go to bed.
Ouch.
Same. Thank you for making that quick so I can get a nap in. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can schedule some Napulus Eep command for a little later. This was a early morning for many people, myself included.
I'm so glad Hjonk was the only team that picked the 6 a.m. time slot for me.
Yeah, for us over here, it's now 11 p.m. It's a sort of later time in the day.
All right. So we saw a CL rush there. The attempt was gone through. A little post-match interview. Hjonk, when you got the immediate read from 120 SPM, what was your thoughts? Were you still going to commit for it, or did you have hesitation in the moment?
I mean, I think the what we were discussing at the end there is we're quite out of practice. I think it was after the last big tournament, Team Hjonk over here hasn't really been playing much Nebulous. There's been a lot of other stuff that's been catching our attention, and the sound of another tournament was like, oh hell yeah, like, let's jump back in. And we've been playing Neb together for a very, very long time. Absolutely love this game. We're just not used to playing against teams that coordinate themselves. We generally play pretty casually, and we're learning at an absolute bucket load. Like, all we were talking about at the end there was how impressed we were with 120's positioning and how they're moving, and sort of like things we haven't ever played against before. And it's refreshing. It's really cool to see. We're sort of discussing, I think the mindset was they've got offset spotters, so we need to close the distance quickly to kill them and at least drop a couple of liners before the other ones rotate. When we started getting shot from the ones in the middle, I made the call to try and duck in on the rock to block line of sight while we killed the other ones, but it just did not happen. We basically put ourselves in a trap where we got absolutely slaughtered. So that's just it's almost like a learning. Like we're all taking lessons from this. It's going, okay, no, that sort of strategy does not work against that many liners. Not to talk builds as the reason as well. But coming off the game with Hunter and his crew, we definitely felt like our fleet builds were completely out of whack, and this one felt the same as well.
We can see the influence that game had, given the Naginata count. I believe it totaled 122 Naginatas to deplane a force like you faced against Sanjover.
Yeah, and the playing against the Axford positioning on that first game was brilliant. They predicted the stereotypical OSP placement just above B. So our weaker front line just cannot handle that many Axfords, and the Axfords played very, very well using the open space. So it's just a bunch of lessons, and also feeling like each game started with a fleet that was very hard to beat. And again, played very, very well. So we're sort of just sitting here going, what sort of fleet builds do work for us? We've noticed that the all-in strats seem to be working quite well, so we tried a Vauxhall one. And got called out in the first 5 seconds and went, well, that's a bit interesting. So I don't know. We had some other things up our sleeves, but hopefully we'll actually. I know the delay to avoid the next weekend is actually making it quite difficult for a lot of members of Hjonk, myself included, to make it. So you might end up with a blue in that game. We'll see what happens.
Alrighty.
Another thing with that last one that was really only seen by the spectators and also 120 SPM. 120 SPM brought 4 Bloodhound tugs in that last one. You did a really good job of pushing into 2 of them there. You got the kill on 1. The other one you disabled temporarily, but unfortunately for you guys, it was able to be repaired at the end there. But yeah, 120 SPM just had 2 reserves, and as well as an additional early warning tug that they were just able to pivot over from the seaside there and just keep you all tracked for the entire game for the most part.
Yeah, well, big charging straight into the Ellens doesn't help either. Like, you don't really need the Bloodhounds at that point.
No, that doesn't help either. Yeah, and once again, 120 SPM, really good job on the repositioning there, immediately moving all of their liners to advantageous positions there to take full advantage of the rush, able to get crossfires on the entirety of ANS.
Yeah, it was really cool to see a team play sort of really heavy frontline fleets very, very well like that. Even though we got our asses absolutely handed to us, it was cool to play it. So I appreciate it.
Swapping over to 120 SPM, after that first game, joked you were at 120 RPM. Any comments on your choice to go double on the all-in kind of heavy beefcake gun style?
Why wouldn't we? It's the winning strategy. It's how you play comp.
Yeah, we just kind of wanted to go back to sleep. It was fun. So it's just simple to play. It's good, and yeah.
It's actually I'm wondering, like, are there actually any other stacks, quote unquote, apart from myself and my guys on the Oceania time zone? Because I don't think we've actually ever really encountered the EU or the US stacks in any quantity.
There's elements of CTE that are in a similar time zone to you, but that's basically it.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot to learn. Thanks for the games, and we'll go walking with our heads down out of the stage.
Oh, you did good. You did good.
Yeah. Given everything that went on, honestly, you guys put in a good effort. You gave them a good fight. You learned quite a few lessons, as you said, throughout this tournament. There's more matches to come, so plenty of opportunities there, since you said you couldn't get very many practice matches in against other stacks. Speaking of other stacks, we are going to be playing games that will be tomorrow at a more regular time. So we're going to be seeing Sanjover versus Freak Bob's Fenthouse tomorrow, and 5 Girls, 1 Grungler versus Gigri, I believe is how we decided to pronounce it.
Gigri, actually. I can't believe you're still pronouncing it wrong, Neko.
Okay, look, they called it that is a G-influenced key smash, okay? I don't want to hear it. It's early. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. Get me out of here.
The caffeine is very much sustaining us right now.
Thank you for the game, Hjonk.
Yeah,
thanks for the games, guys.
That was a lot of fun.
GG's.
All right, so with that, Drevis, anything to add before we close up recording today?
Not too much, but as you had mentioned, Geekry versus 5 Girls, 1 Grungler, I believe starts in about 26 hours. And then right after that, we'll see Sanj over against Freak Blob. And then
Did they
after
swap
that,
slots,
I
or
thought
because I'm looking at the
Freak
schedule? I think it's
Sanjover was
Sanjover
did I
first.
write them down in the wrong order?
Looking at the time slot for me, looks like Sanjover versus Freak Bob's is first for that, but they're both playing same
Okay,
day. So
sorry about that.
I'm just going by
Either
what's
way.
posted in tourney notices, so I'm
Oh
assuming
yeah,
that's
okay.
the correct
I
one.
forgot that there was there's some rescheduling. I forgot about that. Okay.
So Freak
So,
Bob is
folks,
first then. Okay.
happy stream Saturday and whatnot. Scape and I might do stuff later on today, but I'm gonna go take a nap. So you all have a wonderful time.
I will likely be playing Ultra Kill later today, as that's the game that people are voting on me to play. So see you in a couple hours for that. When people ask me what gets me out of bed in the morning, I wasn't expecting it to be Team Hjonk scheduling an early morning Nebulous match for me to cast. But you know what? I suppose it works.
Whoa! It is late evening over here. It's a late evening game.
Yeah, well, Mom says it's my turn on the sun, so
It's funny, when I was, for the first match, the sun had only just risen here where I'm at.
Yeah, wow.
all right. Anyways, Scape, are you gonna stream anything more this time, or you just calling it for
No.
now?
I'm gonna call it for here now. I'll see you all. It is currently 8 o'clock where I'm at. That gives me about 4 hours until I start up stream again for what I was normally gonna be doing today. I can probably get some sleep in or something.
Yeah, we can
I
get
don't
some
know.
rest before then. All right. For now, good morning, good night, everyone. We will be back later today, probably. Meow meow.
And once again, before I close off stream, once again, I'd like to give a thank you to Dramus for setting this all together, and a thank you for all of the teams that signed up and are playing in this tournament. Wouldn't be possible without any of you all. So thank you for all that.
I think that's all we have for now. So, goodbye for now, everyone. Goodbye for
All right.
now.
Bye.
Thanks for casting.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
it's been great.
Casting.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
but
go
it's
lie
okay.
down.
The caffeine is
Yeah, I
very
think
much.
I will too.
The caffeine is very much wearing off. Alrighty, and with that, I'm gonna end stream here for at least this quick little stream of the tournament games. I will see you all in about 4 hours here for probably some Ultra Kill. If any of you want to change what I'm playing today, the poll is still active. I will keep it running until the very last moment. But yeah, I'm gonna exit out of Neb and go to black screen before I end stream, so that's always cool. Great. God, you can really tell the fucking caffeine didn't work. But anyway, once again, thank you all for joining, for this tournament game. I'll see you all later today, and, yeah, bye-bye.